In a world full of noise and spin and shadows, one voice cuts through the lies like a blade through smoke.
Fear no evil.
Because the truth is the only thing that matters.
Dance with the devil, walk with the angels, and the truth shall set you free. This ain't for the faint heart. This ain't for the easily offended. This is where real talk lives. Because if it ain't black, it's white.
Welcome to the one, the only, the Robb Crocker Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the Robb Crocker Show. My name is Alex. His name is Jared, otherwise known as JB. And we are here with the man himself, Robb Crocker. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing good, fellas. How about y'all?
Doing great over here. Didn't rain too much today, so it's okay. Actually, it's funny.
Of course it didn't rain. I'm not there.
Exactly. You're not here, and it's not pouring down rain. So maybe you should just stay there in North Carolina. How about that?
Let's dance with the devil and walk with some angels and let the truth set you free tonight.
Absolutely.
Fellas.
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's start off with, what is it we should all be able to get along about? Just name some things that we should all be able to get along about.
Being born in America, freedom.
You already fucked up, because no one's gonna agree to all those things. You could probably get by with saying we can all agree with being born.
Amen. All of us got to be born in the image of God.
So it's just so frustrating that you see everyone fighting about everything. So let's try to reel it in and let's say what is it that we should all be able to get along about?
Okay.
Being born, able to breathe.
Yeah, as humans getting along together.
Yeah, I would think that we would all agree that being happy would be something we could agree on.
Okay.
But I'm sure that would be argumentative to some people.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, regardless of what you say, there's always going to be that one asshole out there who wants to disagree just because he thinks he's different or he thinks it's cool to be different.
So much energy and time is wasted on fighting and figuring out a way to disagree with someone. So let's try to spend more energy and time on figuring out a way that we can all agree on something.
Okay.
So I don't know how that's possible, but I just am curious to what it is we can't agree on.
I'm just glad we all agree with us three.
Well, that's all that really matters anyway, right?
Exactly.
So let people ask themselves, what is it we should all be able to agree on?
Yes.
Because there's so many things that we can't agree on. Like right now, what's going on in D.C. President Trump made an executive decision that he felt that the Capitol should be a safe and beautiful representation of America.
Yeah.
You have people who disagree with him and say what he's doing is wrong. So why is it? Just to be argumentative? Or do they not really want the Capitol to be beautiful? Do they not want the Capitol to be safe? Do they not want the Capitol to represent the greatest country in the world?
I mean, I think this one's pretty obvious. Anything positive Trump wants to do logically, they emotionally go negatively against it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, we've seen it for almost 10 years now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Whatever he says is good, the opposition will come out automatically and say it's not good. If you're watching right now, too, let us know what are some things that you think everyone should be able to agree on. One thing that I think we should be able to agree on is that Branch and Barrel is the best whiskey in all of Colorado and soon to be the rest of the world. The flagship bourbon and the wheated bourbon are my two back and forth favorites. So we go back and forth during the show, switch it up a little bit. Vodka soon to come. And of course, when it is raining, you need a hat to protect your eyes. So I went with the Black Heart Gear hat today. And of course, the cigar guys are here with the best cigars in the world. So these are all things we can agree on. But back to DC.
Absolutely. And people who are interested in any of those three things, feel free to email the show, reach out, and always subscribe and like. I don't normally say that. I leave that to JB and Gonzo. I just talk a lot more than they talk. But I would be curious to see what we all should be able to agree upon.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. We'll read those throughout the show. But back to DC.
The best thing about it is, I know you guys are young, but DC comic books.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've seen the movies.
The movies. But the best part about it was a libtard reporter yesterday chose to say that Donald Trump was trying to be Batman. And it completely spun on her to where social media immediately erupted on her and was like, that's the greatest thing, and that's the greatest analogy you could have done. Batman / Donald Trump is protecting DC.
Right. Well, that's the thing is vigilantes are only cool in the movies, but when it comes to real life, they're criminals, and no one wants to condone what they're doing, even if it is at the end of the day right. Personally, I think that if anyone's going to be Batman, it's probably his son, Barron Trump. I think he has a higher likelihood of getting that done than Donald Trump himself. I don't know if Donald Trump's great on the golf course. I don't know if he can do parkour on the rooftops, but maybe his son Barron can do that.
If his son Barron becomes Batman, that'd be the tallest Batman we've ever seen. He's like 6'9".
Well, speaking of roofs, Donald Trump was on his house inspecting the roof this past week.
His White House.
His house, as he so eloquently says, his White House, the people's house. He's wanting to make sure the roof is intact for the people of the United States.
Yeah, that's funny. I think what's
Is that where they're hosting a UFC fight?
On the roof. The roof.
That'd be fucking awesome.
But they are going to be hosting that there, and that's going to be a hellacious event when they do. There's fighters wanting to come out of retirement to participate in that card that night.
Yeah, I was thinking about myself, actually.
I'll train you up, JB.
Yeah, we were trying to set up a JB and Conor McGregor fight, but I think we should postpone it and have that at the White House. So that was a previous Cigar Guys episode where we talked about it. And we smoked his cigar, by the way. He has a cigar line that's actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good cigar.
Well, I've always been entertained by him. He's an entertainer for sure. So I would definitely tune in to watch that night.
Absolutely.
Whether fighting JB or whoever.
Absolutely.
If he's fighting JB, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there.
Absolutely.
And all that money, I'll donate.
Aha. Let's see what we can do, Gonzo.
He's going to donate it to the Robb Crocker Foundation.
Now we're talking. So we talked about love and unity and what we should all be able to get along with. And we only came up with being born. We didn't come up with a long plethora of a list. So now I'm going to ask you, why do Democrats love to hate?
Like I said before, it's more like an emotional response. I mean, anything that's pro-freedom, pro-America, pro-conservatism, pro-family, they'll always go against.
I think that if you're talking about politicians specifically, it's because their interests tell them to. And if you're talking about Democrat citizens, it's mainly because they're brainwashed.
Well, in the past, there was a time when 18 to 24, 25-year-old kids believed that they were Democrats. Then as they became part of society in the working community, they transferred over to being Republican/conservatives. So I don't know if that's going by the wayside right now, because there's some serious things that are happening that people need to be really careful about, because be careful what you ask for, because when your wish comes true, you might not like where you live anymore. But it's too late at that point. And the reason I'm saying that is the 18 to 27-year-old population in New York City is rallying behind Mamdani. They think he's the greatest thing walking on the street. But if he were to become elected mayor of New York City, you're talking about death to the largest and greatest city in the United States. People who've lived in Cuba, in Venezuela, who've lived in socialist countries, they are just jumping up and down, wanting people to listen to them. Once you allow government to take over private businesses, it's just gonna spin out of control and go by the wayside. Where I don't know if you guys have seen that he actually lives in a rent-controlled housing apartment in New York for $2,300 a month.
Really?
So
sounds cheap in New York.
Excuse me?
Sounds cheap in New York City.
It is cheap because it's maxed out.
Yeah.
That's why this is what he's wanting to do. Imagine you as a landlord owning a building where you have to pay the maintenance, you have to pay the taxes, you have to do all of these things. All of those things go up annually, but you can't raise the rent to reflect that. So this is why rent-controlled environments do not work.
Mm-hmm.
And he also wants to get rid of the police. So you're creating chaos. And what does chaos do? It breeds anarchy. So you think New York's not safe now. You think DC's not safe now. You allow the inmates to run the asylum is essentially what he's wanting to do.
I think that is the goal for sure. I think that nothing good can come from this if he wins. Even though Cuomo's corrupt, New York probably stands a better chance under his quote-unquote leadership. But I'm curious to see how this starts to unfold as we go into closer to the actual election.
The irony is, if you believe that they're both controlled, it's more or less a distraction because the vote will have to go to one of them, right? Or do they have runoff elections there?
Well, right now, you've got the one Republican, you've got Mamdani, who is the Democrat nominee, then you've got Cuomo and Eric Adams that are going to run as independents. So with that many candidates, you're definitely going to be splitting the vote pretty thin.
And most time when an independent runs, the vote gets split from the Republican side. So, I mean, it's not going to be good.
Well, he's going to ultimately end up running. His whole platform is going to be anti-Trump. He's running against everything.
Shocker.
That anti-Trump.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if things continue to go as well as they've gone in the past 6 months. People should start seeing cheaper gas, cheaper groceries, and being able to experience the benefit of what's transpired since Trump has been in office.
Absolutely.
So I don't know that the anti-Trump is the way to go.
No, I think right now, Jared and I were talking about this earlier. Trump has been the best option that we've had for a while. And to go against Trump compared to anyone else is kind of like committing suicide at this point, unfortunately.
We used to talk about the worst of the evil, but we actually have, in my mind, I think we have a completely different president than we had the last time he was in the office. I don't know if it's because he surrounded himself with such more qualified people that are helping him succeed, but you can noticeably see a difference in the way he carries himself, the way people across the world look at him, and I think he's completely different than he was term one.
I mean, he's definitely toned it down a bit. His first term, obviously, he was very loud and obnoxious, as people would say. He kind of toned it down a little bit when he was running against Biden. But this time around, yeah, I think he's appeared a lot more chill than the previous 8 years.
So what I think, again, with where he is and everybody like JB anti-Trump, this is Mamdani's what the Democratic Party wants to be the face moving forward for them, which I think he may win in New York City, but that will not work in 80% across the country.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he won. We've seen this pattern happen in other states. I mean, I think Minnesota is a great example of seeing some of the leadership that's come out of Minnesota being predominantly the Somalis and those of Islam faith. It's starting to happen more, and wouldn't surprise me if it happened in New York or maybe somewhere like California. It would surprise me if it happened somewhere like here in the great state of Florida, but God forbid.
Well, the unfortunate part about all of these things that are going on is there's going to be a certain amount of exodus from these areas.
Yeah.
So where do they go? They go to Florida. They go to Texas. But then you start taking a majority of people right now and you bring in this influx of the mindset of they're going to have, you're just getting closer back to the divide that we had everywhere else before. But then you got to ask yourself, why are you moving there? Freedom, low taxes or no taxes, whatever it may be. So why would you bring your idiotic thoughts from where you were to where you're moving to?
Yeah. I think a lot of it derives from selfishness and ignorance. These people that you describe, they believe certain things and they're set in their ways. And when they're looking to move, they're looking for obviously a better economy, cheaper housing, cheaper gas, a better place to live for either themselves, their significant others, or if they have them, kids. But then they come here and they are so stuck in their ways that they want to still vote the same way and vote the same people in. And they're too stupid enough to realize that in doing so, it's going to turn the new place that they moved to into the old place that they left, which is why some of the immigrants that come here, they do the same thing. They leave a country, like you said, Venezuela or whatever. Some of them come here and they say, okay, well, I've learned from the place I left. Let's try something new. But some of them do come here and say, listen, let's vote for the left-leaning parties. And it'll work in here. It's America.
Well, when you start telling people what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and what they can charge for their groceries and things like that, you're going to watch stores in New York City get boarded up, and the crime will rise like never before.
Which I think is dumb because you have places like here we have Trader Joe's, which is mostly competitive pricing, but sometimes they sell more expensive stuff. Or like Whole Foods is a good example. A lot of their stuff is more geared towards people that want to eat cleaner, so the food's going to cost more. But if you don't want to spend that money, you go to like Aldi's or Walmart or wherever. So you have your choices. But having the government come in and tell a business that they can only charge X amount of money for groceries, like you said, that's actually not going to be a good thing in the long run.
No, because the farmer, everywhere that the food initiates from to get where it's getting to, that cost isn't going to be held down. There's going to be someone who suffers. And typically it's always a consumer.
Yeah.
That's who normally suffers when you start doing stuff like that.
Right.
Because other places are going to go out of business. There's no reason to stay open. Then you're going to ultimately have a government-run grocery store, and they're only going to have bread, maybe bread, water. It's going to be the damnedest mess you've ever seen. So people in New York really need to think hard about it. And I know you don't have a lot of choices, but I agree with you, Gonzo. You've already kind of know one of them. And New York managed to survive before. So I'd put him back in there myself.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Cuomo, Eric Adams. I don't know who's running on the Republican side, to be honest with you.
It's the guy who wears the red beret.
He's running again. Okay. Let's give it a shot. I forget his name, honestly. But let's just give it a shot and vote for him and his gang that he always brings around with him. Let's just see what happens.
For sure. Well, we talked about D.C. We talked about New York. So we've established that there's going to be crime, and there is crime, and most of that crime is being committed by adolescents. I'm talking 12 to 17, 18-year-old kids. And a lot of places now, they categorize kids up to 21 and 22 as kids. But as far as being charged as an adult, it's 18. So there is a town in New Jersey that has passed a law that has the ability to jail parents if their children are out acting like hoodlums and doing things to where they get arrested. So what are your thoughts on holding parents accountable for their kids' actions out doing stuff?
God
Should
forbid
they
we have
actually
to.
be put in jail?
Like, God forbid we have to hold the parents accountable because the parents aren't holding the kids accountable.
I think it's a slippery slope because
now government's involved.
yeah, it depends on the situation, really. I mean, if the parent is being negligent, I think that would make sense to hold them accountable if you can prove that they're negligent. But you have instances where you have parents that are doing everything they can and the child still turns out to be a shithead. So that wouldn't really make sense. But I agree 100% with holding the kids accountable. I think some places are too soft on kids. So hold the kids accountable, and if you could prove that the parents are being negligent, then you could maybe move forward to holding them accountable, which we do already. You know, if you prove a parent's negligent with their children, they either get taken away or, you know, depending on the degree, the parent might end up in prison or jail at least.
Well, the thing about it is the way the laws are set up now for children, you can be a 13 or 14-year-old kid and go murder someone, and you're tried as an adolescent, and then your records are sealed, and then when you turn a certain age, you're released. So there has to be a point to where the cities, the towns, the cities, and the governments have to change the laws to hold people accountable for the actions that they do.
Right.
And it does start at home where the parents, you didn't have this type of crime that you have now with adolescents back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I think mid-90s, 2000s, then when COVID hit, it drastically changed. But we're at a point now to where towns and places and business are having curfews to where they don't want the adolescents out past a certain time of night. So what are your thoughts on curfews for adolescents?
I don't know. Anytime we add government to parent your kids, it always gets dangerous.
I don't know. They have a curfew for driving already. I wouldn't be opposed to a curfew for children, quite honestly.
When you say children, is that under 16, under 12?
Well, they're saying 16 and under. 16, these are the kids who, when we were younger, people used to go hang out at the mall. They'd go hang out at a meeting place to where that age group hung out. Like skating rinks. All this stuff is gone now. These people are down in places creating chaos like downtown Orlando. Other places to where they gather. And it always takes the one bad apple to create the problem for everyone. Because in my mind, the curfew is parenting again.
Yeah.
I think the easiest way to do it is to get the complexes and property owners on board to have a curfew on their property. Like, for example, we live by a plaza where there's essentially, once the business is closed, 2 a.m., let's say, you're not really supposed to be there. So, like, for example, the mall property that you're using in your example, if that property is technically closed and shut down beyond a certain point, no one should really be there unless they have permission or if they work there or whatever. So, I mean, that's a way to do it. But, yeah, to Jared's point, giving the government more reason to go on a power trip, especially with some of the police these days, I could see that going bad.
I mean, even 7-Eleven has a do not solicit. I think if we could put it back on the business owners, you can kind of have that enforced by the police.
Yeah, I think having the business owners be accountable for it and taking that first step, and then just allowing the community to be on board with it. Like, there's no reason for a 12-year-old kid to be at a gas station by himself, past 2 a.m. That doesn't make sense to me.
And who drove them there? Or they take a bike or walk?
Yeah, I mean, if they walked, they shouldn't be out that late.
Yeah.
And if they're with a parent, then it's okay.
It's funny that we're talking about this because in the past we've talked about kids getting out of the house, out of in front of their computer,
Yeah.
out of in front of their games, and now it's like a complete opposite. But again, it goes back to a certain percentage of individuals who are creating the problem. It's like we live in an area down in Florida that I can't decide if I like it or I don't like it. There's like a group of 8-10 kids that ride around on electric bikes.
Is it during the day or?
That's during the day, during the night. Shit, they're everywhere. I can literally leave my house and be in another spot, and somehow the kid has managed to go back roads, and I see him over there before I even pull up. And these electric bikes, they'll go 45, 50, 55 miles an hour. So, and they're not adhering to stop signs. I see a catastrophe waiting to happen. And it's funny because a lot of these old school, I don't know if you guys remember the little dirt bikes that had fat tires.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten to where they ride them around because they're inexpensive to buy.
Yeah, I think that too that goes back to it's similar to the whole iPad thing. The parents are like, here, just do this so I don't have to deal with you. This is a situation of the parent being like, all right, as long as you're not here, do whatever. And they're not teaching them to be responsible or follow the law. Because, I mean, I don't have anything against kids going outside and playing responsibly, but if you have kids acting in this manner, then I can see where that is a problem.
Well, I know sitting at one of my favorite restaurants outside at the Vineyard, I get to see and hear all of these kids run up and down the street. And again, I'm torn whether I like it for them being out, having fun, doing something, or if I don't like it because they're acting like hoodlums.
Yeah. I mean, back when I was growing up, we used to play outside all the time. But we knew that there were certain things we could or could not do. Obviously, we never left the neighborhood. And, I mean, we were just raised differently, I guess. I think a lot of parents nowadays don't have the will to properly raise their kids.
I think everything gets pushed off, and especially this time of year where all the kids are going to start going back to school. And you've got teachers and educators who are going to have to deal with someone else's problem when they go to school. And it's an evil circle, kind of goes around with everything we've been talking about tonight, with areas, crime, accountability, responsibility, and dependability. But when these kids show up at school, you can't discipline them. You really can't do anything other than, it's crazy. There's no respect anymore. There's no respect for teachers. There's no respect for law enforcement. And the young people today feel, what's the word I'm looking for? They just feel like there is nothing that can stop them.
They're empowered.
There you go. They're empowered to do and say whatever they choose, and no responsibility, and there will not be any punishment or repercussions for what they do.
I think part of the great plan is the disruption of the nuclear family, and when you force both parents to work, they don't have the time or energy to properly raise their kids. I think that's all part of the plan that's been happening for decades now. It's very unfortunate that that's the case, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's very rare that you have a stay-at-home mom or any of that, or stay-at-home dad. It's both parents work to try to survive, to pay the bills, and then the kids just fall through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
So Do we got anybody telling us what is the one thing we should all get along on?
No, I think they can't think of anything else either. I think our answer was just the only one. Did you have any other answers? I don't think we got you to answer.
I actually think that we should all be able to get along, that we all want to be healthy, that we all want to live. But I think you can argue about that because
We saw
when I
that-
look at. I'm sorry?
You're right. I mean, we saw that with the, with the vaccine mandates and like what's healthy, what's not healthy, what's a cold, what's not a cold, how do you heal yourself, what to eat, what not to eat.
Or the Sydney Sweeney outbursts.
Yeah, things like this. What is healthy? People.
Hey, I thought she had great genes myself.
Absolutely.
I thought Beyonce had great genes. I'm not going to discriminate for genes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
the clothing was
give
great too.
someone else the energy and the time that I don't see it. Why can't you be happy that everybody wants to get along instead of trying to figure out a way to divide us all and have the nuclear bomb that says you're over here and you're over here. So we try to stay down the middle and say what's right and what's wrong. Everything we've talked about for the past 29 minutes or thereabout has been about what's right and wrong. Just like we talked about Cincinnati. Just like what is right, what is wrong. But when you have liberal people in the media on different platforms, whether it's Bravo, whether it's their social media, whatever it may be, who come out. I heard some good words this week. I didn't know that JB and Gonzo and Crocker were triple Trumpers. Did you know what a triple Trumper was before tonight, JB?
Absolutely. Takes one to know one.
Proud?
Yeah.
Are you proud to be a triple Trumper?
Yeah, I want to be a quadruple Trumper.
I think we just draw a fucking square, a box, and put Trump in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you look at the options we had, being a triple Trumper was the best way to go.
For sure. And I think that this has given younger conservative people an alternative way to proceed moving forward, not the old stagnant Republican line. I think it's allowed a lot of people to get out of the box, no pun intended, to move forward, whether it's J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or DeSantis. But I think you've got to get away from the stale politician that's been around for 40 and 50 years. They're dead.
Yeah.
They have to go.
100%. I think once these people die out, we can't go back to having these 40-year congressmen or senators or whoever. I mean, it's
like
not
right
an
now,
option.
you've got the senator who lost the election in Ohio, who Chuck Schumer is on his knees begging him to run again.
Mm-hmm.
This is a person who was already there for 2 or 3 terms, who lost. That individual should not be qualified to go back there. What did he do while he was there? What did he accomplish? What did he do to make America better? What did he do to help Ohio become greater? So I'm all about term limits. People talk about it, but people won't stand behind it. And the Democrats face right now, AOC, Crockett, Mamdani, these people, would you follow them to hell and back? Absolutely not. They are not qualified leaders. They are qualified bullshit artists who get clicks on TikTok, get clicks on whatever social media, and there is no value to them. I appreciate that AOC used to be a barmaid, got elected to Congress. Good for her. You've got Crockett, whatever she is, she's a diva. She doesn't show up to work. People have stated all of these things. She's a Kamala Harris 101. So you've got to get away from people just because they can make funny videos. What is the foundation to themselves? What value do they bring to the area? the community, and what are they going to do for you when they get elected?
Ironically, someone just commented and said that we should all be able to agree politicians are useless incels.
Well, I would say that you can agree to that, but then you're going to have the people who are the politicians who think they walk on water and their shit doesn't stink. So that ain't going to work. That's not one.
Try better.
Keep going. I want at least, man, we've gotten 2 possibly, maybe 2. Let's see if we can get to 5. This right here is a challenge. What are 5 things that everybody should be able to agree on? We've gotten 1, being born.
Actually,
Then there's going to be, but you know what? There's going to be people fucking crazy. I didn't ask to be born. I didn't want to be born. You're going to have the crazies.
Exactly. I was going to say,
didn't want to be born.
Abortion is one of the most polarizing topics. I don't think that, or not me, people would say that. I don't think you have the right to be born. I think you have the right to choose. So, honestly, at this rate, Crocker, I don't think we are going to be able to get one. I'm going to be honest with you. I could say I think that we should all be able to agree that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, but that's not happening either. We're not all going to agree on that. Until one day when we all have to go on our knees before him.
I think one thing we can all 3 agree on, and everybody who's ever been, if you go in the vineyard and you have lunch or dinner there, you will agree that that is one of the better restaurants in the greater Orlando area, or even better, across the country. The proprietors, unbelievable. Bar staff, unbelievable. Chef Liz has a wonderful team assembled, and you can't ask for anything better. So if you've been to the vineyard, you should all agree that the vineyard is one of the better places you can eat.
There you go. We got the vineyard, we got Branch and Barrel, the Cigar Guys, and Blackheart Gear. We just need one more.
Let's figure it out. Somebody come up with one more before the night's over.
I think we can all agree that we're always right. That's 5.
There we go.
There we go. We got it. We got it, JV.
Good.
All right. Well, this crazy-ass libtard, who is a wealthy individual who happens to be from Bravo, was on a show there. She's the one where I heard the triple trumper. If you are this is a quote out of her mouth. If you are a triple trumper, you should never go into a Mexican restaurant, an Indian restaurant, any place where there is a gay individual cutting hair. You should not be allowed to go in there, being a triple trumper. When I heard this, I'm sitting here thinking to myself how ignorant it sounded. It's easy to say, but what happens? Guys, if that became reality, if we all 3 said, you know what? None of us are going in a Mexican restaurant, Indian restaurant, any ethnic restaurant, or a place to where there's a gay individual working, what do you think would happen?
We'd be
all of those businesses.
We'd be racist and homophobic is what would happen.
And the business would die.
We would be racist. We would be homophobic. But the people who own those establishments would be out of business.
Exactly, yeah. I think the left always pushes segregation.
Always have, always will.
It is such an ignorant statement to where people who are in the restaurant business love having triple trumpers come in because they know they spend more. They tip more. They are more genuine, caring to the wait staff. I've heard this by waitresses, bartenders, all across the country. The libtards are so extreme that you mess up, you're not getting a tip. You did this wrong. So it's absolutely just amazing to me to where the people who are out on the street screaming the loudest are the ones who have so much hatred and so much vengeance in their soul that they can't allow success to happen for the Mexican restaurant, for the Indian restaurant. If the reality came to be true to where conservative people only ate at conservative restaurants and liberals only ate at liberal restaurants, there's going to be a lot of places going out of business. But her final statement was all triple Trumpers should only be allowed to eat at Cracker Barrel.
That's racist. But does that include the Mexicans and Indians and gays that were all triple Trumpers too?
They don't realize that there are those people who actually vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, though. But second to Vineyard, I would love to go to a Cracker Barrel. They have great food, and it's a good price too.
Well, Cracker Barrel is all over the news now. They have their dire, loyal Cracker Barrel fans where they have started renovating and remodeling and rebranding some of their restaurants to make them more modern. And there's a boycott of that. So I like the old rocking chairs. I like the country store. I like going in there. I like seeing the fireplace. I like seeing the mounts, the peg game. Personally, I don't think you should change it. That is one place. If it's not broke, don't change it.
No, I agree. I think they should stick with what they're doing, but sounds to me like this lady was endorsed by Cracker Barrel. I think this was all part of their plan, their master marketing scheme, because now they've got people in protest going to Cracker Barrel. Despite if they're being, I don't think they should, modernize Cracker Barrel. I think that defeats the purpose.
Well, to me, when you look at it, if anyone wants to go online and look at the new Cracker Barrel, it's brighter lit. It's got like a Panera bread. It's lost its character. Character has a lot to sell, especially at Cracker Barrel. Now, was I fond of when they added the Bloody Marys to the menu? Absolutely. I thought that was a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. Right when you thought they were going to do better, I guess they didn't think it totally through. They're going to start losing customers now.
So when you look at the people out on the street screaming who happen to have green hair or vaginas on their head, whatever it may be, I want you to imagine being a waiter or waitress at a restaurant and seeing 6 of those individuals come in. And 6 is the number because typically restaurants over 8, they manually automatically put your tip on the ticket. So if you've got 6 individuals that spend, let's say, $200, that tip should be $35. That group leaves $20, and they work you 10 times harder than a different group. So I'm not being, what was it you said, racist, homophobic, or any of the other things. I'm being factual. It's a fact that certain individuals tip better than other individuals. You can ask anyone who's in the hospitality industry. Next time you see them, who tips the best?
Jared does.
They won't say that.
I don't know. I've heard it many times.
What's that?
I've heard it many times. Jared's a great tipper.
But Jared's not been with Crocker.
I was auto gratuited last night at like 25% and still tipped on top of that.
Jeez. Talk about a ripoff.
Yeah,
where were you eating?
It's a Peruvian place by the same owners of Don Julio's called Pisco's in Lake Mary. It's actually really good.
So they automatically tip. What was it, a service charge, or what was the reason?
It's like the newer modern version of Don Julio's, but instead of Mexican food, it's Peruvian food.
Essentially, it's the business's way of saying, I don't want to pay you guys more money, so I'm going to make the customers pay you more money.
Yes.
Did the money actually go to the waitstaff, or did it go to the house?
I don't know. I left satisfied.
You didn't care where it went.
Did you leave with anybody who was working there?
No.
Well, you didn't necessarily leave satisfied.
Well,
You
he didn't
left
say he didn't leave with
content.
anybody. Just that they didn't work there.
You left content, is what I heard.
Yeah.
So, to round this all out through the conversation where we've been talking, from D.C., Trump taking that over to making it better, we've gone full circle across towns and communities. What is it that we can do to make society, America, more enjoyable and better to live in? Is it spending more money? Is it giving everybody a free paycheck every week? What is it that we, as the government, can do to make everyone happy?
Lower Fed rates, allow people to buy houses easier.
Economy is definitely a big thing.
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, if the current government just takes a step back, things would be a lot better. But if you have good people in government, things like that, making sure that the economy is properly regulated or allocating funds to good reasons. I think the government of Florida is doing great with a lot of things where they're taking extra funds and utilizing them properly. But yeah, the current government doesn't know how to do that, so we got to get them out of here and get some new blood in.
So many people think the answer is free.
Yeah.
Give something to someone. What people don't realize is that food stamps, SNAP, all of those things have been available. When you were to, if you were to put glasses on and look at that and ask yourself, has this helped anyone? Has this helped the local communities to be better? My personal opinion is when you give something like that, it becomes expected. And when it becomes expected, you know what you have, you know what you can spend. What is encouraging you to go out and do more and be better and add value to your community?
Well, it's as a wise man once told me, give a man a fish, and he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, and he'll eat for the rest of his life.
And that's such a true statement. Because someone was given something, but it's the gift and the value of what that gift actually was that makes a difference. Mm-hmm. That's where the cities, the towns, and the government is missing the opportunity. We have the ability to give knowledge and education to people to where they can provide for themselves, to where they don't need the gift. It may not be a fish, but once you know how to use your hands to do something, and someone is willing to pay you for what you can do, you don't have to worry about the gift anymore.
Right.
Exactly.
I think going back to the whole how kids are behaving today, a lot of parents have given their kids everything and never taught them how to either
earn anything.
Yeah, earn anything, work for themselves. And we see an entitled generation. And I think obviously parents should be meeting the needs of their children, absolutely. But when it comes to giving them all these things without them actually earning it, that raises a generation of dependency and entitlement.
Well, when I was a kid, I probably was 12 or 13 years old, and I lived in an area to where everybody had what they called back then they weren't track houses back then. They were mill houses. They were houses that were built around train tracks in a mill to where the yards were similar. So I went to every house and asked if I could cut their grass. And I had an old Murray push mower. So I think I was getting paid $5 maybe $10 a yard to cut the yard. Gas was 78 cents a gallon. So all it was effort on my part to go just cut the grass and do as many yards as I could a day. That's the one thing I love about my dad is he instilled work ethic in myself to where I know how important it is to be able to work to achieve something. Worst case scenario, if everything failed tomorrow, I guess I could go cut grass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
But I wouldn't be scared to go do it.
You have to do what you got to do. And lucky for you, you lived in a time where gas was cheap. And wages were okay.
And what's crazy is the lawnmower from that time frame hasn't transitioned that much. They still make that same lawnmower with that same Briggs & Stratton motor. All of that is essentially the same. You got a little bit better wheels. You got a little bit better controllers. And yes, some of them are self-propelled. But I think that mower you can still go buy for $79, $89, $100.
Yeah. Like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Still cuts grass.
Well, speaking of broke and speaking of fixing it, at the end of this week, Putin and Trump are meeting in Alaska to try to solve the war in Ukraine. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Granted that Zelensky's not going to be there, that this meeting is straight up between Putin and Trump.
I forget, is this after the 60 days or has the 60 days already passed?
It's not even getting to that. He's not even allowing it to get to that.
Exactly. I think anytime Trump speaks to Putin is a great thing. The two great leaders of the world speaking. I think the Ukraine thing has to be squashed. But I also think there's other talking. It's much more than just Ukraine.
Yeah.
Well, that's the premise of this meeting, is ending the war in Ukraine. And by having this meeting, it's an uproar in Europe. Zelensky, everybody thinks that Trump is overstepping by doing this without including them.
Well, it's never worked when they were included.
Exactly.
So I don't see what the big deal is, personally.
Trump said that he'll know within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
After being there with Putin if he's interested in a deal. But the unfortunate part about it is Trump can't make a deal on behalf of Ukraine and Zelensky. I think he can get some baselines, and Putin/Russia is going to want more, and Zelensky and Ukraine aren't going to give it up. So I think when it's all said and done, Trump's going to say, I tried, keep fighting.
Well, if we just simply stop sending weapons over there, I think this war would be over a lot quicker.
Well, that's the whole thing that's triggered this, is the Europeans. A lot of people say they want to keep the war going because it's generating income for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and it's like every war, it benefits certain companies. But if the United States were to just cut off Ukraine and say, that's it, no more weapons, no more this, I think that that's not going to happen now after we made the deal that we made 30, 45 days ago with them for the mineral rights and us protecting them. So it's a double-edged sword. It's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic works out, because Trump could go in there with his big boy pants on and just say, look, it's over. Stop. You're not getting any territory. You're not doing this. And then what's Putin going to do?
Keep fighting, I guess. I don't see what else he'd do.
Does he want to grab the tiger by the tail, though? Because Trump is going to ultimately say enough's enough, because he can't let this war can't keep going on. You got Israel, Hamas, that shit's still dragging on. And we all know anytime you have a contract that's on a never-ending deal is a no-win for anybody.
Yeah.
And that's where they are in both environments.
Personally, I think a lot of things would be solved if America just stayed out of it.
Do you really think it would be solved, or do you think it would get escalated and we ultimately would get drug into it at a greater magnitude?
I think in most situations in the modern day era, they would solve themselves. There's not many situations where it would get to that point unless it's been designed to do so.
Well, for example, if China attacks Taiwan, should we help Taiwan or just let it go?
I think we should let it go. Me personally.
Well, they say if Taiwan becomes under the influence of China, it will affect the United States economy by 42%. Car manufacturing would cease to happen. They listed a plethora of things that the chips that come out of the TWC, whatever the semiconductor place in Taiwan is, it would literally shut manufacturing down in America. That's how dependent we are on it.
Yeah, but I guess from another perspective is that when someone tells you something like that, it makes you want to jump in the war right away and get involved, right? That's effectively how we get into every single war since, 1913.
I remember the great chip shortage of our recent days, and I think it was great for the car dealerships to give a reason to charge more money. And if you look at it now, I think that the chips are back. I don't know if they ever left, but
The prices go down.
that doesn't seem to be an issue.
I think that we have a bigger problem. That we, as the earth, could be getting attacked. Have you guys not seen the ship that's barreling to Earth? It's 7 miles wide by 30 miles long. It is being directed directly towards Earth. Expected October, November. I'm surprised neither one of you smart guys have seen this yet.
What do you mean ship?
Yeah, what do you mean ship?
A ship out in the Milky Way that is traveling towards Earth. Neither one of you guys have seen this?
A spaceship?
Yes. And they're trying to decipher if it's an asteroid or if it's actual ET.
I was gonna say I saw the whole asteroid thing, but I see that 3 times a year. So
They're saying this is something different.
I mean, yeah. So hypothetically, there's an object somewhere out there that's barreling through the endless space, and it's heading directly toward us, as it always does. And right before it gets here, somehow miraculously, by God's good grace, it misses us, and it's on to the next story. Oh,
So
Russia, Ukraine.
Let's hypothetically assume that this ship makes its way into Earth. 7 miles wide by 30 miles long. That's a lot of little people. Or hell, they could be big people. We don't know. But what would happen then? I think everyone would start getting along. This is why I prefaced the show the way I did. Just like 9/11. Everybody in America got along for a hot second after 9/11.
Yeah.
If Earth is invaded by little people or big people, you're going to see everybody who hates one another today get along for one cause: survival.
We're fighting different aliens this time.
Well,
Build a wall
but
around the world.
I say that in jest that we would all get along, but I guarantee you we would have loonies out on the street trying to protect them from us doing something to them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I don't think we're ever going to get along. What do you want off your ship, JB? It's clearly not the place you ate dinner last night.
Had a cold last week, so that just about left the ship. I want to make sure I never get sick again, I guess. All the rain we have, quite a bit of traffic increase, a lot of accidents lately. Want to get that off the ship, too.
I think personally we should get the aliens off the ship, and that way the ship can go off course and not hit us.
But they're already on a ship, so we have to, send them on a detour?
Well, if we get them off the ship,
The
then,
ship's still going to be barreling through, though.
well, it depends on which planets or suns they pass, and if the gravitational pull can set them off course. I'd take my chances.
Yeah.
What about you, Crocker?
I want everybody to realize there's going to be rats in whatever town, whatever city, in whatever ship you're on. And just always remember, all it takes is 5 gallons of kerosene at the bottom. It'll burn slow, and all the rats will always get off your ship.
Beautiful. That's how you do it. But we don't want you off our ship. We want you on board. We want you subscribed. Hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and
Every
upload
Tuesday.
all the different shorts and different content for you. So until next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m., we'll see you later. Take care.
I will be live in the studio.
There
Good.
you go. It's going to be a good day. We'll see y'all there.
In the rain.
It is probably going
Probably
to
gonna
rain.
Yeah.
In a world full of noise and spin and shadows, one voice cuts through the lies like a blade through smoke.
Fear no man, fear no evil.
Because the truth is the only thing that matters.
Dance with the devil, walk with the angels, and the truth shall set you free. This ain't for the faint of heart. This ain't for the easily offended. This is where real talk lives. Because if it ain't black, it's white.
Welcome to the one, the only, the Robb Crocker Show.